check, check. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the High School Star League. I am Seamus Seamus Anderson. Joining me today is Octavian, and we are going to be bringing you Fleetwood High School taking on Mission San Jose.
Hello, folks. It's good to be alongside you today, Seamus. And very interested to get into this game here. Interested to be casting for people with such unique or not so unique names over on the side of Mission San Jose. I swear, they're just trying to throw off the casters.
Yeah, Kimikaze, Kumikuzi, all their crazy names are definitely an interesting lot. I actually had the pleasure of casting one of their games a bit earlier, and they just completely dominated. So I am looking forward to how they do in this upcoming game. But just a heads up, guys, this is, of course, a replay. So while I'm loading in, just give us a couple of minutes. And if we do have any technical difficulties, please endure with us. But I have just loaded into Summoner's Rift, and if I'm not mistaken, Octavian, you should be good to go, right?
Yeah, I'm waiting for you to tell me exactly when you need me to hop in.
All right, I am paused at 10 seconds. Overlay is good to go, and 3, 2, 1, unpause.
The majesty of technical superiority.
Yeah, absolutely.
As it looks like we've got some pretty interesting looking picks today. Some pretty standard stuff as far as the meta has been going. I'm not sure whether it's going to be a Varus or an Ezreal mid over on the side of Fleetwood. I guess we'll be seeing very shortly. It looks like Varus. He's heading up the mid lane.
Yeah, I do know that Pro 711 is their mid laner, so I'm assuming he's going to be taking that in that mid lane. Oh, we might see some level 1 sneaky strategies. Mission San Jose.
They're all squishing themselves into the bush there.
Yeah, and there is no vision, so Mashi and King at the top need to be a little bit careful here.
They've somehow managed to squeeze Gragas and Nautilus into that last tiny little section of like 3 leaves off the edge of the corner of the bush there. But it may very well pay off for them.
Yeah, they're...
Go right ahead.
Yeah, they're just waiting for someone to walk in. I don't know if that's actually going to be the case. Oh, man.
There's Temashi. The level 1 kill is definitely going to be going over to Mission San Jose here. And exactly where they wanted it to, Malala picking up first blood on Callista. Great place to have it.
What a start for Mission San Jose High School. So we didn't really get to talk about the picks and bans that much, but it doesn't matter what kind of a team composition that you have. If your AD carry picks up a kill before the lane phases even started, that is really, really good. Mission San Jose.
Yeah, especially somebody who's going to be outscaling Arclight's Ezreal as hard as the Callista pick is going to be doing. So getting that early lead is going to be so very valuable, especially considering how oppressive an Ezreal could potentially be against a Callista in lane.
Yeah, but now with that early lead, oh, PA taking a little bit of damage. Interestingly enough, Milala did not decide to go back, and they're actually just going to help out with the Gromp. Said though.
Ooh, they might be interrupted here. Hook lands into Malala.
Uh-oh.
Trank following it up, flying over the wall. Kamikuzi does manage to help Malala secure the Gromp there, so at least that's not going to be stolen away. And Malala, holding on to his summoners, realizes there's not much more that the enemy bot lane can do here.
Yeah, Milala should probably just recall, though. It's a common mistake by players if they get cheesed, take a lot of damage level 1 to stay in lane and try to use a potion. It's actually more valuable, in my opinion at least, just to go back, buy some potions of your own, but he is deciding to stay in the lane. We'll see how that plays out for them, because Milala and Omikuze do have the level advantage. They have experience advantage, and they've pushed up so far, so this is still good.
And with the runic, with the shared health from the runic blessing,
that's true. They have quite a bit of sustain.
And of course the health potion that I believe we saw the Callista burn there. It does mean that he'll have most of his health back. He's missing a few hundred, but that's not going to be too terribly impactful.
Yeah, so long as they keep pushing. The nice thing about Callista into an Ezreal is she can just stay behind minions and threaten damage with her auto attack and then a rend. So that's pretty good for their bot lane. Looking at these other lanes, though, we really... I mean, again, since there wasn't a draft phase, we didn't get much time to talk about these other lane matchups. Aurelia versus Rumble, those are both carry top laners, and I like seeing these teams go with, you know, carry strong top laners instead of just going for the tanky Maokai or any other champion like that.
Does make for a much more interesting game.
does.
Without a lot of jungle involvement, who would you see winning that top lane, though? Would that be King in the top, or would that be Komikaze's Aurelia?
I think in the very early game, Aurelia is going to be a little bit weaker up against that Rumble, and you can see, actually, that he decided to go for that Flask and the health potions as well. They know that, oh, Malala taking some damage.
Ooh, nice hook, landing between a minion. As one dies, he throws it out. But Trank does take some poke back himself. No rend available from Malala, though, so all those stacked up spears will go kind of to waste.
Yeah, out of curiosity, what time are you at right now?
I am currently sitting at 4:10. Just went by in the clock.
Okay, perfect. Just wanted to make sure. Yeah, we did see a nice trade in the bot lane, but I do think that top lane is in favor of Rumble, and we can see that reflected right now. King in the top is living true to his namesake. He's up in farm and up in health as well.
Ooh, a hook from Komikuze onto Trank chunks away even more of his hit points, but Malala is too low to consider coming close enough to take full advantage of that Nautilus engage. As Pro 711 and PI trade back and forth. Not sure how to pronounce that one. PI? PA? Not sure.
Beckus and I, we called it PA. Oh, gank in the bot lane.
Oh, the flash into the play. Lantern to pull Temashi in as well. Just turn onto Komikuze. He's gonna anchor towards the wall. I don't know if that's enough. He might be able to close this gap here from Temashi if he flashes for the unfurrow. Yes, he does. There it is. Knocked the Nautilus up into the air. That is quite a feat. And Rek'Sai will secure the first kill for Blue Team. Would have been the first blood, except he gave it up in the bush earlier.
Yep, so pretty simple. Max range Lantern, and they had to blow their flashes, but they did secure the kill. That's good, too, because we did see Milala and Komikuze doing a little bit of bullying. Meanwhile, just looking back in this top lane, Komikaze, on that Aurelia, he's not going to be that strong against this Rumble pickup until he gets Trinity Force. And the thing is, it's going to be a while till he gets that. Oh, he's looking to duel King in the top. I feel like he might have lagged out for a moment there. He didn't have any response. Kind of strange.
Either that or he's just incredibly confident.
Yeah.
In the fact that he's going to survive that Aurelia engage. He is below health in the Aurelia here, though. No more stuns available, but then again, you pay for that by not having as much health. It's a bit of a trade-off.
Yeah, it definitely is. For now, though, I do think that Fleetwood is probably completely comfortable the way that they're fighting. Pro 711 on that mid lane Varus. It's something that we've seen quite a bit in LCS. Not so much in cross-Pacific play, but a few Asian teams have occasionally picked it up. It excels at poke, though, and if we look at their composition, they have Ezreal, Rumble, Varus. They have quite a strong poke comp. So Fleetwood High School, they're probably going to want to try and end lane phase as fast as they can and get to a situation where they can group up and siege.
Especially considering the longer range that most of their carries have. Ezreal, not particularly aside from his spells, but Varus has quite a good auto-attack range, and he'll be able to poke down those turrets as well as the enemy champions.
Yeah, and then of course just the Q. It's the Legolas Varus build where a buff a couple of patches ago meant that the way that his cooldown on his Q works is that it's much, much lower, since now while you're charging it, the cooldown is still in effect. So oftentimes we'll just see tier stacked up. However, when you have this sort of a double tier composition, you do run the risk of not having those combat stats. So this early game is going to be a little bit rough. And a gank in the top lane.
Taimashi was waiting for that for so long, and then he just didn't engage until the very last second. And with no flash out from the bottom lane gank, that's going to be a double kill for Aurelia. King in the top was laying on the dominance in that lane, and it is all gone. Komikaze, with 2 kills in his pockets, more than makes up for that missing CS.
Yeah, Komikaze had such a great gank. Hitting the body slam, there was no response. King of the top didn't even know he was dead before it was too late. And as a result, they pick up 2 kills. And now 2-0-1 on this Aurelia. Yes, he's down a little bit in CS, but you do not want an enemy Aurelia to get this kind of a start.
This is the point in the game where if Aurelia gets gold, she can become unmanageable. If she gets the gold to be able to build even just those pieces of a Trinity Force, her laning phase becomes nigh on impossible, but there's a teleport to the bottom lane, and it looks like we have King in the top trying to make up for that earlier deficit. Malala just about avoiding the slow, though.
That equalizer could have been placed a little bit better, and then we saw the Electro Harpoon missing. That's a huge cooldown now. Komikaze gets to just walk into this lane when he had already picked up these kills. That's going to be very rough. King of the top, oh, they're going to go for this dragon, actually, and that's a good call considering that Komikaze isn't around. So they do waste the teleport, but they get the dragon. Is it worth? I don't really know, but that is an objective secured.
I think that wasn't really their plan, though. The way that played out, it didn't Perhaps the dragon was on their mind in the future, but they were probably planning on picking up a kill there.
Right.
They had a very good teleportation spot, but Nautilus had just gotten his flash back up, and they couldn't quite land what they needed to onto Callista. Temashi, you're going very low.
Whoa.
I think he just about gets it.
To a certain extent, though, that is a sign of a good team. If they try to make a play and they can't get anything out of it, if they find other objectives, you know, other... maybe it's not what they intended, but they at least still get something out of it instead of just completely wasting that teleport. So, it will be a top trade.
Top turret,
Yeah, a 2,000 gold lead now. That's pretty significant, especially against a double tier composition. Whenever you're running any sort of AD carry composition, especially a double tier comp, you do not want to fall behind because the enemy team is just going to be doing so much more damage. You need to ramp up.
And they have some really good ways of dealing with 2 AD carries on the enemy team. Aurelia can just make it so hard for an AD carry to do the job they need to do because she's such a threat and still so hard to kill if she gets ahead. It's not very easy for blue team to peel. They don't have a ton of ability to do that.
No, they really don't. They have the... I mean, the Thresh, I guess. But Pro 711 is going to need to position incredibly well in these fights if he doesn't want to get engaged on by that really, just like you said. He's pretty low. Oh, Temashi and King of the Top.
Board, though.
Do they know this? I don't think they do.
Still, though, I don't think that Mission San Jose could really have gone aggressive there. It just allowed them to avoid what could have been potentially disastrous, because we did see Kimikaze sitting around the corner. Looked like he wanted to make a gank happen. And then that thought got quickly driven out of his head.
Yeah, that was probably both teams a little bit happy with the fact that no fight broke out there, because it could have gone either way. PA was very, very low, which is why he had to go with the recall. Kamikaze.
Not getting jumped on.
Yeah, he's got the Phage and the Amp Tome. That's actually going to provide more health and, of course, damage. So he is winning these trades against Rumble, and we see the fact that the PS is now equalized is very good. He's going to go wide, but Komikuzi gets hooked instead.
And the battle of the hooks, whoever lands wins, and Trank is going to force Komikuzi to drink one of his pots, or I suppose eat one of his biscuits here. Not too impactful. Nautilus, very tanky man, but still, if the trades keep going like that, eventually they'll go in favor of Fleetwood.
They're looking to try to make another gank like we saw earlier in the game. Rek'Sai is in the area. If they land the hook, here comes the Lantern.
Both hooks land at the same time. Komikuzi deciding to better of it. With Malala's help, gets pulled back out from under the tower.
Good play for Milala there. Komikuzi gets out alive, and they really just trade the two ultimates for one, actually. Nice little bait and pullback. That's really the power of Callista. She's one of the first AD carries where you can help your support when they're caught out. It used to be that, you know, the supports would always make sure the AD carries are alive, but just the fact that if you have good communication, if you get ganked, you can keep each other alive is so useful.
It is incredibly valuable, especially alongside a support like Nautilus, who's going to be trying to go for those dives potentially, getting into those sort of dangerous situations. Very good bottom lane synergy here from these two. Even in some less obvious ways, the way that the auto attack interaction works between the two.
Ult is down now though, so Trank is trying to make another gank happen. This time they have this lane brush rewarded. Unless they go aggressive, which they are.
They are doing that. That's Trank's health chunked to half, but they have Temashi in their back pocket. The teleport is coming down out of the top lane. Trank forced to flash away as Kamikuzi is going incredibly low. The Ezreal flies across all three members of red team here. Temashi is down to a few hundred hit points, but nobody falls.
Wow, crazy fight and teleport coming out of Omikaze. Not answered. Oh, Pro 711 flashed away. What a play!
The ulti is dodged by PA, and he sends him to the side with a few shield-bearing soldiers. But there's a hook over the wall onto PA. Temashi goes down to the damage. PA gets 2 kills here. Or actually, no, one was just an assist, but Arlite is going to be falling as well in the end, red team. Or I suppose
4
Mission San Jose
kills.
comes out way on top.
What a crazy series of events. Mission San Jose that really all started on the fact that PA had a fantastic outplay on Pro 711. Forced out his flash, then flashed and cleansed the ultimate away to pick up the kill. And yes, he did get hooked after that fight had started, but by that point, the rest of Fleetwood High School was so low that they could pick up 4 for 1. And they will lose top turret for this. However, bot turret is now incredibly low, and they still have the gold lead.
Yeah, and that whip Varus ult, it's the most commonly whiffed ulti out of pretty much any in the game.
Oh, did he whiff it, or did he cleanse it?
It was... I'd have to look at the replay to be entirely sure. I thought it was whiffed. I didn't see it hit anybody. Perhaps it wasn't whiffed. Perhaps PA flashed away from it. That might have been it. But the fact that it didn't have full effect is what really killed that team fight.
Yeah, and
whatever the reason, Fleetwood needed that ulti.
Yeah, Varus really isn't a great champion in 1v1 situations, and technically Azir isn't either. However, Azir does have better dueling potential than a Varus. If he can get in like you saw and the ult misses, then the Varus is just going to get absolutely brutalized. And speaking of brutalized, looking at the item, he does have the brutalizer now, as well as the Ionian boots of lucidity. But the thing is, neither Ezreal nor Varus have that Moor mana, so they're still not doing too much damage.
And speaking of item spikes, Komikaze just finished a Trinity Force, and we aren't even 15 minutes into the game.
That is terrifying.
That is a sleeping beast that Fleetwood does not want to wake up.
Octavian, I don't know if that's sleeping. He's 3-0-1 so far.
That's true.
He seems pretty awake to me.
He did come down out of the top lane.
Yeah.
With that teleport. The presence that we've seen Mission San Jose place on the map in just the last few minutes has outdone Fleetwood's.
They've definitely been moving more as a team, and they have had a couple of mistakes, but they are very much in the lead at the moment, and I'll probably just keep on talking until this game is over about just the item power spike mismatch right now. The fact that both of these AD carries are so far behind is a huge deal for Fleetwood High School, and they need to delay for a long time if they want to come back. To be fair, they can. They have a decent amount of wave clear. They just need to execute it properly.
They do. They do have a team that can come back into the later game. They're not down for the count yet, but it's going to be a rough and difficult journey back, especially considering the Trinity Force isn't the only power spike on the side of Mission San Jose. There's a Bloodthirster on that Callista as well. They're hitting their power spikes at the exact moment when Fleetwood is most vulnerable.
And on the flip side of Fleetwood being behind, with Mission San Jose being ahead, what I'd really like to see them do is pressure for Dragon now. And I think King at the top realized it, but he gets caught out.
Yeah, Lantern pulls King of the top to safety, but it was a close one.
Doesn't have teleport, so he's just going to force to walk. But a 5v5 fight here should go in favor of Mission San Jose.
Yeah, I don't know if that hook is not going to be followed up on, and Trank no longer has it for this fight. Komikuzi is coming in, he's taking that cooldown, and he is working with it. King of the top is chunked below half as Throw 711 does manage to pick up a kill for the side of Fleetwood. However, that'll be a double kill, actually. Aurelia goes down. That is exactly what they needed. Too much dive from Komikaze. Means that the rest of Mission San Jose has to back off.
I might not be done.
Walla is going in, but the Rend doesn't kill him through the heal. Arlight gonna pick up the kill, gonna pick up a double for himself.
My
this
goodness.
Is miraculous for Fleetwood. Exactly what they needed.
That is a little bit of commentator's curse on my part. I said that Mission San Jose should win the fight, but the thing was, they did not engage on the same page. Komikuzi went in, and he died instantly. So at that moment, it was a 4v5 fight. Komikaze, yes, it was the right decision to go onto the enemy AD carries. However, they narrowly managed to beat him in a 2v1 scenario, and then we just saw the rest of the fight just break down. Really a lack of correct focus coming out of this Mission San Jose team makes a huge comeback for Fleetwood, and now they have 5 gold as well as 2 dragons. Octavian, they have definitely come back in this game.
And it's going to be rough. Mission San Jose does not have nearly the sort of late game potential. Well, you know, I take that back. They've got an Azir who's going to be pretty scary as we move forward into the game. Aurelia, sure, will fall off past the mid game, but the usefulness of a Nautilus is always going to be there. And with Callista and Azir, they may very well be able to match Fleetwood in the late game. So
yeah, it's
now that we've sort of evened it out, I don't know where to call this one.
The scaling, I really think it could go either way. I'd honestly give it a little bit more to Fleetwood High School because their team composition is a little bit easier. Whenever you're running a champion like Gragas, you could potentially screw over your team with an improper engage. That presents kind of an issue with just the fact that how are you going to have these fights? Whereas if we look at Fleetwood's team, they can engage with a Varus, they could perhaps engage with a Flash W from Rek'Sai, or a stray Thresh Hook. Whereas the only real primary form of engage we see on Mission San Jose's team is Komikuzi. They can either...
potentially PA if he decides to go incredibly man mode and
Well, yeah,
diversify the enemy back into the team.
that's way more of an inconsistent engage compared to, like, you know, a Varus ultimate.
That's very true.
It is possible, and we've seen him pull off the Shurima shuffle, so I'm not saying it isn't impossible, but it is harder.
Yeah, Pro 711 is going to have a much easier time of starting those fights. Speaking of fights, Arlights is forced to flash away as Malala shows him who is the boss of the bottom lane.
Yeah, but with Malala bot lane and Varus, or excuse me, Fear Recall, that's going to be the turret. I'm honestly pretty impressed with just the fact that this Fleetwood High School team, they have such a good knowledge of how and when to take these objectives. The turrets are tied, but they just seem to be out-rotating so far.
Oh, actually, a lot of damage on the Komi.
Kazi.
But the Varus ult doesn't land. Pro 711 not quite landing that one, but the red buff will still be stolen away. Or not. No, Kimikaze got the smite there.
Low health
I don't
bars.
think he had that up. I think it just came up for him when he smited that.
Yeah, but they probably would have liked to get it onto Milala, because Milala is one of the bright points of Mission San Jose right now. He has a ton of farm. He does have a kill, and working on that Hurricane. A Hurricane Callista, you know, 20 minutes into the game with a red buff would be very, very good for their team fights, as opposed to having Gragas. At least they secure it, though.
And you're very right. Malala really is the brightest spot for Mission San Jose. It's a very good way of phrasing it, because the rest of the map here is just falling to shreds. Malala did show some dominance in the bottom lane, managed to chase away Arlight, actually burned a summoner out of him, but they lost a turret, they're losing pressure, they lost jungle camps. I don't know if they can sustain that.
Yeah, I'd say Milala's been doing very well, and I also have to give credit to Kimikaze. 2-0-5, he hasn't died yet, he's been involved in every kill his team has had so far. Some of you might be asking, but Simus, Aurelia's 3-1-1. She's been doing really well. She is 3-1-1, and I'm not saying that Komikaze isn't weak at the moment, but the fact is because he did teleport into the bot lane, he did roam a lot, he's fallen behind in terms of that CS. If we look at the gold for all the champions in the game, the one with the most gold for Mission San Jose High School is Milala, almost at 7,000. But on the flip side, both enemy AD carries are now over 7,000 gold, which is great Fleetwood High School.
The composition for Fleetwood does kind of limit them a little bit, though. They have one AP threat in the form of Rumble, and Rumble does quite a bit of damage, especially towards the mid game, but later game, he isn't quite as consistent as in Azir, or as bursty as some of the assassins that he could have been. So the double AD carry does sort of shoehorn them into this physical damage role. Malala getting played back, though. There's the ulti Arlight with a bunch of burst. Brings down the enemy AD carry, and Komikuzi is going to hook his way perhaps to safety, but the Chilling Smite will slow him down a little bit longer. I don't think so. Teimashi is continuing on with the chase here, but with Kimikaze nearby, no! He gets hooked as the barrel is thrown. A nice valiant attempt from Kimikaze, but it's not going to be enough.
Arlight on a rampage, and with Dragon up in 50 seconds, this is going to give Fleetwood High School a positional advantage. They're going to go for this bot turret, and considering it's about at half HP, it probably will go down. I'd like to see them secure the Rift Scuttler as well, since they know the Dragon is up, and that should be the next objective they go to. But so far...
Arrow.
Yeah.
That is a painful, painful, painful lesson in archery.
Fleetwood High School has been making all the plays, and Mission San Jose has been reacting, and occasionally they've reacted well, and sometimes it really hasn't been enough. That's why we do see Fleetwood now taking the lead, but Trank and Arlight kind of caught out.
Kimikaze placing the barrel sort of preliminarily does mean that Trank and Arlight can just walk around it. Wow. And Nautilus wasn't near enough to land any of his CC. His ult was up. He could have been there, but
Gragas going to the bot lane.
The difference.
That's down a turret taken down in the mid lane because no one was on the turret. There's no way PA can protect that alone against potentially two threats from Fleetwood High School. Now they're pinging the Dragon. Ezreal, I think, starting it, and members of Mission San Jose are in the area, but this Dragon is going down so quickly.
Yeah, no contest at all from Mission San Jose. In fact, 4 members of Fleetwood are just going to peel off to try and see if they can get some other advantage as well. Fleetwood is hungry this game. They are not letting a single mistake go by. They're taking advantage of everything they can, and that's putting them ahead.
Yeah, 23-minute 3 Dragon buff that Dragon's Flight going to be providing the 5% movement speed, which is great, especially for Pro 711 because he is on that immobile champion. He's going to love the boost he has there. And that means we're looking at a potentially 35-minute Dragon. If Fleetwood High School continuously get Dragon on cooldown, which is something they've been doing incredibly well, they are just going to have a huge power spike at that point in the game. And look at the items. Ezreal already has more mana completed. Manamune just about 70 stacks from the Severes. They're getting to the point where it's not quite the late game, but they're going to be these 80 carries that are near the mid-late game status where they do a lot of damage. And it's going to be very, very hard for Mission San Jose to deal.
And, I mean, oh, actually, we might be seeing a bit of a fight here. Trank lands the hook on the Komikaze. Here comes Taimashi from the side. He's actually going to try and burrow his way out of there as a Lantern pulls in the Rumble after a beautiful equalizer onto both members of the backline from Red Team. Here comes Komikaze over the wall trying to salvage something. Ezreal flies across and Pro 11 with the Varus ulti as well will lock them off in place, but that's a double kill so far for Milala, trapped in the back of the fight, but it doesn't matter. PA is here to provide the damage now, and Arlight, Pro 711, the two carries.
Oh my goodness.
Without a front line, maybe they can make this work. A double kill. A killing spree. And blue team somehow manages to pull ahead that fight, but it's still going on. Milala, tossing out a few more auto attacks, doesn't want to go for the fight.
The craziest part of that fight was Frank and Taimashi started that fight without the 80 carries even remotely close. We saw Arlight and Pro 711 come to the fight a dozen seconds after it had already started, but a fantastic ult from King in the top, and just the fact that Fleetwood High School was tanky enough to survive that long means they actually win the fight 4-3, but that was pretty close. They definitely don't want to throw this lead, and they probably should group up as 5 before they try to make a play like that happen again, because if their tanks get, you know, try to start a fight or get caught out and the 80 carries don't make it in time, they will go down.
What's terrifying for Mission San Jose, though, is what you just said there, that fight should not have been won by Fleetwood.
Yeah.
They didn't have their 2 carries for 80% of the fight, and yet they still managed to pull out a technical Pyrrhic victory in the end, but still a victory. As Trank lands another hook, not going in on that one.
Yeah, the fact...
I mean, what happens if the fight is even?
Good lord knows. I fear for Mission San Jose. The thing was, though, yes, they were outnumbered for, I mean, the majority of the fight, but they landed every single skill shot. It was a beautiful equalizer from King of the top. Arlight's ultimate provided some support. Pro 711 hit a 4-man chain of corruption, if I'm not mistaken. So long as those skill shots line up, there is nothing Mission San Jose can do. And so far, we've seen Fleetwood High School have excellent sniper percentage.
They are going to be firing out the Ezreal.
Oh
whoa!
My goodness.
PA hit by both that and a piercing arrow. Means he's got to go back home to base. And that's most of their wave clear right there. Kalissa's a bit too short range to risk coming up to clear the minions out here. Nice hook onto Milala, but it's not going to be followed up.
Still, they don't need to kill Milala. They can just continuously whittle them down and make them have to recall like we just saw. PA has made it back. He did go for the home guard, so he could make it back to the lane quickly. So I don't know how much longer the siege will last, but Pro 711 does have a blue buff, which means he is totally fine. Keep spamming those spells.
This is that poke comp that you were talking about earlier, coming up strong. I mean, they landed 2 spells on PA. Admittedly, one of them was an ultimate, but 2 spells, and PA was forced down to a 3rd health. He had to go back to base. They are going to get the inhibitor if this continues on like this.
Yeah, it's really just up to PA to make sure he doesn't get hit by any of these skill shots. I mean, if a Thresh Hook lands, he's probably dead. If a Varus Q lands, he's chunked to almost half HP. Really, really tense. But so long as PA does stay alive, he will have good wave clear.
Milala is pretty important to keep that health bar healthy as well, and there's the Ezreal flying across.
Looks like they might actually back off. This is curious. I feel like
Interesting to see them go for a Baron play here, but it would be a bit risky.
Well, they do know that Milala needed to recall. And Dragon's up in a minute, so maybe they just want to get Dragon. Maybe they were baiting Baron and then heading over to this Dragon, but they will be spotted over ward. I'm not sure if that was the most correct decision, because I do feel like the siege was working out for them. However, they're just deciding to play it pretty safe.
Oh, Kamikaze sees blood, though, and he is going for it on a Pro 7-11. But the Gragas ult, he just kind of throws him off to the side, not where he wanted it to go. And a beautiful Rumble ult! Again, the Equalizer is doing so much work this fight. Trank will go down in a 4-man knockup twice. They just can't make it across. They cannot make it across the Emperor's Divide. So it looks like they'll have to satisfy themselves with just a few kills there. But just a few is perfectly fine for them. Arlight is actually still hungry. He's going in for another Q. Moala survives.
And they have a cannon minion, so they might be able to siege this down. The True Shot Barrage misses, but this turret is probably not long for this world. I'm not sure if they can go for the inhibitor. It'd be kind of risky considering how low the death timers are at this moment. But every time, it seems, Fleetwood High School make a play, they do it successfully because now they have an inhibitor turret down. They're going to be able to get this 4th dragon. And we've seen when they group up, they continuously win these team fights.
Fights like that one really make me wish that they would make a bouncy house Azir skin. That would be the best.
Oh,
but it looks like that'll be the 4th dragon.
That would be pretty fun.
Going to Fleetwood.
His E could technically be bounced too because he knocks up.
That's true. I don't know what the rest would be though. But it looks like Baron is going to get started off here. But that is a Rek'Sai. There's some global mobility here. Trank is looking for this hook, or maybe just the play. That's all he might need. But the rest of the team is not behind him. Teimashi's going to go down. King in the top. Now the focus of Mission San Jose's ire. He will fall as well. And a very nice Varusol, but all it does is hold them off from more.
Again, we see Fleetwood High School. They are getting a little bit too cocky with these fights. Their 80 carries weren't in that fight once more, and they go for it, and 2 of their members die. That being said, they do stop the Baron. Honestly, I don't know if they could have backed off, you know, prevented the Baron without going for the fight. But the fact of the matter is they don't lose very much for losing those 2 members. It's just the gold that you get from the kills. And honestly, that's not a huge deal at the moment. But they need to be careful not to pick fights like that, because if more than just their support and their jungler die, they could be in top laner, they could be in pretty big trouble.
I think potentially that was one of the few ways they could have stopped that Baron, though. Because they were up against obviously the enemy jungler Smite, but also a Rend from Callista, and the poke squad wasn't there yet.
But
Pro 7-11 was waiting in the wings.
The thing is, though, Milala wasn't on the Baron, actually. Milala was trying to... Yeah, Milala was a couple of seconds behind, but just those couple of seconds meant that he couldn't get a very big Rend off, but it looks like they're going for the engage.
Fate's Call, and then the Nautilus ulti as well. Depth Charge going to be knocking Pro 7-11 up. He gets pulled away by the Lantern, though. And they have used a lot to catch up to this guy, and he manages to get away. Trank goes down to half health, but they still haven't picked up a kill. Finally, Kamikaze under the tower will bring 1 down. Double kill, actually, as he dives even further. He is back in the enemy jungle, but there's nobody who can stop him. Pro 7-11 will get a kill back. But that's going to be a tough pill to swallow for the side of Mission San Jose, who have been doing so well recently, but just seem to have lost their step.
Mission San Jose or Fleetwood?
Oh,
Fleetwood, yeah.
My
Mission
apologies.
San Jose, they made another successful pick. They have that Righteous Glory, and the Talisman of Ascension wasn't enough to run away. A pretty big misplay there from Pro 7-11 and the Fleetwood High School squad, because this could potentially mean a Baron. However, health bar is at 50%. It'd still be risky.
And again, that fight was sort of harkening back to something you said earlier as well. The reliability of Engage, and the fact that Nautilus can just press R on you after a Fate's Call. What can Pro 7-11 do about that? But Kamikaze is going to get hooked back by Trank. There's no damage to follow it up, though. Finally, he does go down to the support. Arlight is looking to try and clean something up after this fight. Another landed Q will help him do that. Double kill for him so far. Malala's going down to half health. Teimashi's coming around for the CC. Shutdown gold goes to 7-11. Arlight with another Q. He picks up the ace. This guy, can he miss? Teimasha just about survives the Baron. But that, this game is just swinging so much. It's like on a roller coaster.
And the Baron is the conductor of that roller coaster. Every time we see Mission San Jose find an advantage, they go to the Baron and unfortunately eventually throw. Now a 4,000 gold lead, 4 dragons up. The most important thing about this advantage that Fleetwood have right now, though, is the fact that they have those Baron up minions. That is going to make their siege even more scary. Now, so long as they don't get caught out, so long as everyone sticks together, they will totally just be able to walk up to these inhibitors and knock them down. However, we have seen occasional moments where Arlight wasn't in the fight and Pro 711 got cut out, or where Trank and King of the Top decided to go for engage. Whoever their shot caller is at this moment needs to say, alright guys, we have the definitive advantage, but it's time to group up, go in this mid lane, and take this puppy down.
And perhaps not the mid lane. There is another very powerful objective, very close in sight, in a minute and a half until Dragon. The minion buff, as you said, does sort of want to make them lean into pushing a lane, because otherwise they're kind of wasting the Baron a bit. But the Baron still gave them 300 gold apiece, and if they can get this Dragon, they can make even more use out of that.
Yeah, if you do secure the 5th Dragon off of the Baron buff, that's pretty much worthwhile, because the combat stats you get from the Dragon buff are so big. More importantly, Mission San Jose, they don't have a single Dragon. They don't even have that 6% damage increase, and the longer the game goes on without getting any Dragons just means that they're not going to be finding these advantages in team fights that have been giving Fleetwood High School this lead. Now it looks like they're sieging in the bot lane, and this turret is pretty low, so it's probably going to go down.
That Gromp was very much in the wrong spot, but I guess he can only be in one spot. It's an unfortunate life for him. Trank tosses out a hook, but it doesn't land quite as easily onto Gragas as it does onto Gromp.
Oof. You know, maybe that Gromp gets paid well. Maybe it's his own choice. Because we do know...
Shows up every day.
Yeah, he can walk around. I've seen it. But
that's a lot of sweeping. Yeah. there are no wards in that area. We know that for certain.
Hold on, Thresh.
Dragon, 10 seconds up. As King of the Top shows
this is going to be
he plays a lot of Rumble.
He does. I was looking at the stats of these players. Unfortunately, didn't really get to talk about it since there was no draft phase. But King of the Top plays a lot of Rumble, and he was also Masters last season. So definitely one of the best players on this team, if not the HSL in general. And with 5 Dragons and the Baron buff, this mid inhibitor is going to last too long.
Yeah, Baron will be timing out fairly shortly. Not too much longer on that, but with the 5 Dragon buff, they don't even really need the Baron. They just need to land a good hook. Kimikaze might be the target for that. Point back as well as the box. Here comes all the damage. Malala gets flashed onto, knocked up in the air, killing Smite just to secure it. Double kill for Teimasha there. Komikaze does manage to pull one back with the help of Azir, but he's going to be going down for his efforts. And the inhibitor is open. Azir dashes away to a minion. That's the inhibitor open. That's better than even kill trade. PA actually picks up the kill in the Trank off the back of a nice Nautilus, but still, despite all of this, Fleetwood coming out decisively on top.
Yeah, PA positioned very well, and that Azir turret was trying to provide as much damage as it could, but just the fact that Fleetwood High School, in terms of gold and just in terms of those 5 Dragon buff, they are so far ahead. They do win that fight and secure the first inhibitor of the game. Now, Dragon buff has already expired, or excuse me, Baron buff has expired. Dragon buff is going to expire in 1 minute and 30 seconds. But with the advantage that Fleetwood High School have, even without these super strong buffs, they still have Ezreal Varus. They have a great amount of siege. And when a middle inhibitor is down and these minions are going to be knocking on the Nexus turrets of Mission San Jose, that's going to be really frustrating because they're going to have to spread themselves thin to keep their base alive.
And they have some decent wave clear in the form of the Azir, of course, and also Runon's Hurricane plus any auto-attacking champion does give quite a bit of wave clear as well, but I don't think, as you said, they can't afford to spread themselves thin. They need to teamfight. They're a very good team-fighting team. But if Fleetwood plays their cards right, they can just pick apart, pull Mission San Jose to pieces and engage on them that way.
Honestly, I would say they're not a great team-fighting team, but a great skirmishing team. Each of their champions, you know, not in like a straight-up 5v5 situation are strong, but if they can spread the fight apart, you know, maybe catch those 80 carries out of position, because Kallista's going to be able to deal for himself, Azir's going to be able to peel for himself, and do a lot of damage from wherever he is, and then Aurelia too. That being said, though, the problem is when Fleetwood High School groups up like this, it's so hard to find those skirmishes.
Looks like Komikaze is coming to the front line. Maybe was looking for an engage, but thought better of it as PA gets chunked to half. And the minions just keep utterly getting burned away.
That's what that wave theory you're talking about. They just need to wait, though. If they bide their time and this mid-wave pushes up, as long as they keep landing a couple of skill shots, they should be able to take this down.
Yeah, they've got a really nice comp to pull off this strategy as Trank goes for the hook into Komikuzi, not quite the target he wanted. And really, it's just, for San Jose, it's just about waiting for a mistake from Fleetwood. I don't think they can just take any sort of raw engage and win that fight. They have to have Fleetwood make a misstep somewhere.
Yeah, and so far as being grouped up, Fleetwood really hasn't seemed to let any of those mishaps happen. Turret now at half HP, and they're dealing with the minions. This turret probably going to go down on this push.
Arlight
or not.
shifting away just to be safe there.
It has
But
20
really,
HP.
It's so low, it doesn't matter. This thing dies the next time a minion wave comes near it.
Yep. It will be able to regenerate, but not that quickly.
Yeah. Give it just maybe 2 hours. It'll be fine. Super minions are still pushing up the mid lane as well, which means there's no reason for Fleetwood to back off here. They will continue to lay on the pressure. FitzDragon still burning on him, and that'll be the turn going down. Kimikaze gets hooked in as well. Rumble ulti to split up the fight, as well as an Emperor's Divide. But the Varus ulti didn't connect onto anybody. That might be the mistake that they needed. Kimikaze gets hooked into the back. Komikuzi coming in as well, but Arlight still has all his health and all his damage. Double kill for him as he goes aggressive towards Malala. Gets the triple kill onto Pie, and Malala is just a lost sheep in a field full of wolves right now. There is nothing he can do.
And the wolves are hungry now. 40 minutes in, middle inhibitor is down. This probably should just be the game. And I don't really think Malala's going to be able to protect it, and there's still 20 seconds before anyone else is up.
Definitely not going to be able to protect it now.
So game number 1 in this best of 3, the High School Star League round of 16, goes over to Fleetwood High School.
GG to both sides. It swung back and forth, but in the end, Fleetwood does make the Nexus explode, and they did it quite well. They played the end of that game really, really well.
They did. Whenever we saw them stay together, you saw just the cohesion they had as a group, and I'm really looking forward to these potentially next 2 games, because these teams, like you said, in the end, Fleetwood won, but it was very back and forth. I think these teams are fairly evenly matched. So anyway, guys, we're going to be taking a short break while we play some music for you and let you guys see the ads. When we come back, it'll be game 2 of this best of 3 between Fleetwood High School and Mission San Jose. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the High School Star League. I am Seamoose, joined by Octavian, and coming up we have Game 2 out of this best of 3 series between Mission San Jose High School and Fleetwood High School.
And the last one was certainly quite enjoyable to watch. I hope this one is half as good. Oh no, I hope it's just as good. Let's get our hopes up.
I was going to say, half as good. That's a little bit short, but I was very impressed. Fleetwood High School last game, they had a well-thought-out composition, and they really just took advantage of Mission San Jose incredibly well. So we'll see what they decide to go for this game. 1 second. As again, these are replays; they're not live, so I just want to make sure everything is coordinated as far as production is concerned. But Octavian, are you loaded in?
I am indeed.
All right. So 3, 1, unpause.
All right, sitting at 13, 14 seconds.
Yep, same here. So good to go. Taking a look at these compositions, so a little bit of a style switch. PA actually is going to be running Ziggs this game. So he thought last game on Azir he wasn't able to wave clear enough. Instead, he's going for Ziggs, the master of disaster, and probably the single best champion for stalling games out.
That's very true. I mean, Azir had that capability, but no one does it quite as well as Ziggs, except maybe Anivia, but Anivia's not seen play in a while. Temashi, once again, he has a habit for doing this. Walks way too close to the bush, might be able to get out, though. Command Protect from 7-1-1 will keep him safe. He does have to burn the flash over the wall, but at least it's better than dying.
Are we sure this isn't game 1? I feel like we've seen this before. Temashi forced to flash away. At least he didn't die. Yeah, at least he didn't die, but king of the top now.
Ooh.
Mission San Jose. Okay, king of the top. Buddy, you don't have flash.
There's no respect. There's no respect for Mission San Jose here. They are as 5. You cannot take that on. King in the top. He's going to be losing his kingdom pretty early.
Yeah, they're probably going to be kicking themselves after this game. That is, just like you said, a lack of respect. Something really interesting, by the way, back to the picks that we don't see very often is a Gragas support. Rank K. I'm curious to see if they decided to take that away from Mission San Jose or if he, just plays that champion. Either way, it's a really interesting pickup, and we'll see how it goes along in this game. Another interesting thing to point out is that it looks like Mission San Jose High School are going for a lane swap.
That is true. Malala is going to be starting off in that Krugs, rather, as the side of Fleetwood starts the Gromp.
Octavian, it's a full jungle clear. They're going to steal all of Temashi's jungle. Plus the fact that he's died and used flash already, he is going to be so far behind.
I feel honestly sorry for the guy. This is just about as bad as it gets.
Yeah.
And now they're looking for potentially the 3 or even 4-man gank in the top lane if they choose to bring Kimikezi on Sejuani up into this one as well.
Some pretty high level play from Mission San Jose.
King in the top.
No flash.
He has no flash. Komikaze is going to charge on in on Hecarim. He's down to half health before he gets under the turret. The hook connects. Kimikaze just there to tank a few shots. Doesn't even get the assist, but he did his job. That'll be another kill going over to the side of Mission San Jose.
Not only that, but now King of the Top is forced to use that teleport. I actually feel like they maybe should have frozen the wave and tried to deny him, but even without denying him, he's going to be so far behind. We do see Temashi working in the enemy red side, so he's going to try and take a couple of buffs to catch up. But just as a whole, Mission San Jose have put this jungler and top laner very far behind.
Yeah, and at very little cost as well. I mean, even if they lose this red buff, they just about trade even in terms of buff and come out with 2 kills up. And the only real pressure disadvantage they put themselves at is that Trank can roam around basically as much as he wants because there's nobody in the bottom lane. Oh, Flay back as well. And of course, he still doesn't have flash up, so had that been... Had Sejuani been around to capitalize on that, he could have been very dead once again.
Gank in the mid lane, PA taken low.
PA down to half health. He does use the Satchel Charge, or Satchel Ducky, to get himself out of trouble, though. And Komikaze finally takes up home in the bottom lane.
Diggs could be another one of those champions as part of that line of bouncy house champions. just that Ducky itself seems like a bouncy house commodity. Oh, Frank. Not out.
Is once again in the top lane. I mean, if you find a spot that hurts, you just keep pressing on it to flash forward from Komikuzi. The Ignite is burning. One more auto attack, and that'll be a kill going over to Thresh.
Mission San Jose do not seem like the team of last game. They have made such early aggressive plays and so coordinated as well. They picked up 3 kills so far, and wow.
Well,
really,
to be fair, you say they don't look like last game, and true, to the magnitude of what's happening, they don't look like last game. But in the form of what it is exactly that's happening, they do. It's early game pressure. It's laning phase. They won laning phase in the majority of their lanes last time, everywhere but top, if I recall. And even top sort of won because 2 kills went over to the Aurelia. And now they're just pulling it off again. Another dive on the king in the top. They are not giving this guy a moment.
This is dangerous, though.
So perhaps this time they'll pay for it. Trank is roaming on up here, and Malala, with the Ignite burning, does have to flash away.
Trank doesn't have flash. Malala probably didn't expect the Ignite coming from the Gragas. Thought maybe, oh wait, that's not a jungle Gragas, that's actually support.
Oh, yeah.
But a bit of a misstep there, and Trank barely made it back to this top lane to keep King the top alive. However, they are still early in the lead. And yes, you are right. Last game, we did see a great laning phase coming out of Mission San Jose squad, but it was in traditional lanes. They have played this lane swap very well so far.
That is very true. And it's a whole different beast, and they're handling it just as well. But Kimikaze is once again in the top lane. A flash from him forward on the king in the top, who still doesn't have his up to answer in kind. Malala is here with a few rockets, and Komikuzi actually gets the kill in the end. 2 of them going on to Thresher, not ideal. But it's another one on, more importantly, it's another one onto King in the top. He is kept down even further.
Are you a fan of Queen, Octavian? Another one bites the dust. Another one bites.
Well, certainly not a fan of King right now in the top lane.
Yeah, Mission San Jose, they have had absolute control so far, and it really has been only through plays in this top lane.
Well, to be fair, I say I'm not a fan of him, but it's not entirely his fault either. It is somewhat because he burned the flash,
well,
and then went back and died
all
anyways.
Right, let's remember how he burned the flash, though.
He was not respectful enough.
Yeah.
But he's been arguably over-punished for that. They have taken so many advantages off that one flash, and in kind, we haven't seen Fleetwood take too many back.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like you should do what it takes to win the game. So if there's a Rumble without Flash, I would sure as hell take advantage of him. But you are right. Fleetwood High School really have left King in the top to his own. Trank tried to gank, and he ended up dying as well. So this early game really hasn't been going too great for the Rumble. And you could see that in the items. You know, he almost has as much CS as the Hecarim, but he has an Amp Tome and Boots. Not really going to be able to build that penetration like Rumble's going to want to, so he can get some damage in the early and mid game.
Komikaze is going to be swapped up to the top lane, and it looks like the lane swap phase of the game is over, and we'll be able to see if perhaps Fleetwood can work better with the 2v2 rather than the 2v1, if that was the sore point.
The problem
It seems to me it wasn't really, but maybe they were just really unfamiliar with the lane swap.
The problem is, though, that once again, our Light has gone with that Tear of the Goddess Ezreal, and he is up against a Jinx 1-0-3 with a BF sword already. That is going to be a hugely problematic item mismatch. And yes, our Light is a fantastic Ezreal, but there's a certain level that your skill can take you, and when you're seeing an item discrepancy of this magnitude, your skill might not be enough.
I mean, there's the wild card of the Gragas support there, though. We might, perhaps in the 2v2, that would work out better than Thresh. I'm really not sure how to put that. But Arlight is going to get played back, does shift over the traps, but they were kind of put there to force that shift out. They were looking to just make him run. They're going to put the pressure on here.
Komikuzi probably should have flayed him into the choppers, because even if he shifted out, I think they would have been able to get more damage on. But either way, landing that hook is going to provide so much damage. Now, Kimikaze in the bot lane, and if I'm not mistaken, they didn't see him. So if another hook lands, he could throw that lantern out. That being said, though, they are at a level advantage. Our Light is level 7 to level 4 and 5 of the members of Mission San Jose.
That is the benefit of being in basically a solo lane throughout the entirety of the early game, with Trank roaming around as well. He wasn't there for most of the time. Arlight has a massive level advantage here, and that might be enough just to keep the fight from breaking out. Hecarim going a bit aggressive as Trank is going aggressive as well. Here's Komikuzi down below at
Great chompers.
Points, but a beautiful chomper. Absolutely beautiful. We'll keep Komikuzi safe. And the Lantern will pull Malala to safety as well. But the hook under the turret. Trank is burning from the Ignite. There's a teleport coming in. And the ulti is there for Malala. He got the level 6 during the fight. Komikaze, now with his level 6, going to be charging in onto the exposed Ezreal, who walks back. Doesn't get killed by the Ziggs ulti. That was off screen. I didn't get to see exactly what prevented that.
We're still fighting.
Malala gets flashed onto the Naka. Holds him in place a little bit longer, but Teimashi has nothing left to follow it up with.
Trank.
A kill for Fleetwood so far. 5-0 against them.
He was looking for it, you know, but fantastic mechanical outplays from both Malala and Komikuze. I mean, they pick up the kill. Now, Pro 711, he's looking for something, and he does have a decent amount of damage.
King at the top, though, and King is really weak right now.
Okay, low on mana.
They don't seem to want to go for the fight anyways, yeah. Lack of mana from Komi, as well as lack of health from PA, means that they won't be able to take this one. And Trank is back in time, alongside Teimashi, who's full health. They might be able to take the dragon fight.
There's a high steal potential
off to the side.
Yeah, you can jump in, Lantern out, stay alive, and they can't see the ward. This could be a steal.
Oh. No, doesn't quite get in the Lantern. Doesn't go through, gets interrupted by Trank. Kimikaze, in desperation, turns around with the ulti, but that will not be enough.
Wow, great body slam from Trank. They do pick up the dragon, and that's the first kill we've seen so far for Fleetwood High School. So they are down, but not out just yet. Still, they need to be careful.
Look at King in the top. He's 0-3. Oh, whoa, actually, look at Malala and Arlight. The red buff on Arlight means that Malala has no chance in this 1v1.
Wait.
The Q misses. There's the ulti, and he does have a chance.
You spoke too soon.
Arlight misses a Q and then lands right in the middle of the ulti.
That's pretty rough, man. He missed one skill shot. Then he dies.
That is... it's a tight match here in the bottom lane, and if you miss anything, you can end up giving up the ghost. But as I was saying, before I was so rudely interrupted by 80 carries dueling, who does that? King in the top has a CS lead. That's not what I expected to see here.
Well, the King is on top of the horse. But you're right. Komikuze has had a rough time in the top lane. To a certain extent, that is because Rumble's early damage is so good, and no Trinity Force build-up from Komikuze. He went immediately for those Mercury Treads and then the Home Guard, so he just kind of wanted to be a little bit more helpful to the team. However, this could be an angle that Fleetwood High School will take advantage of if he can maybe get a solo kill or they decide to dive Komikuze. However, at the moment, still a comfortable 1,000 gold lead for Mission San Jose, and they do know when the dragon is up, so I'm sure we'll see a fight around there, if not sooner.
What is 1,000 that big of a deal at this point? If King in the top isn't down in the pit, whoa, actually, Komikaze is committing to this fight, and maybe he shouldn't have. The equalizer, he does manage to gallop his way across the side of it, but he'll be forced out of the lane, and as I was saying, if King in the top can pick up a 20 CS lead at this point, was all that investment as worth it as it could have been? Yes, Malala still has the gold from the kills, but it's sort of evened out. Their keel is evening. They are no longer in a horrible, horrible storm.
Yeah, but the fact that this Jinx has any sort of advantage is a nightmare. Almost has the Infinity Edge completed and up about 1,000 gold over Arlight on that Ez. If we look at the team compositions, Mission San Jose, all of their champions scale incredibly well, especially Malala on this Jinx. So it has been impressive that Fleetwood High School have come back, and a lot of that has been on King in the top, you know, dominating this top lane after returning from the lane swap. That was a little bit unfortunate for himself. But
he seems to be quite good at the 1v1.
Yeah.
And perhaps not quite as good at handling a 2v1 lane, at having to play scared. Really.
He could be a solo queue god, but if he doesn't have that practice in the 2v1 lane swaps, then it's a situation where even the best players can become very uncomfortable in.
It's just such a different paradigm than the 1v1 matchup, especially as Rumble, such a lane bully-faced champion.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the mid lane. We haven't talked about that matchup at all, actually.
That's very true. Well, it's not been all that
Yeah. Well,
impactful,
okay,
all
both
that exciting.
they're both 0-1. They
That's
both
very true.
have 113 to 114 farm. I don't know, Octavian. That's pretty exciting to me. You know, just
Yeah.
throwing out the skill shots, the Qs, the balls, dodging stuff. We did see a couple of ganks actually from Tamashi early game, and none of them were successful. So I am a little bit impressed that PA has been able to stay even in CS. But oh, gank at the top lane.
Here comes Kamikaze. He's trying to turn around this disadvantage.
Stun.
That just
Goodbye.
really should not have happened. King of the top will go down.
Ooh, flash too. That is huge. You're gonna go down like that.
Gets chunked away. He's down below half health. Ro17 seems to have come out ahead in this seemingly even mid lane. It might just be due to the blue buff he's currently wearing. PA tosses out a Q over the wall for some good damage, and the rest of his team is here to turn that 1v1 into a 3v1.
And with his Jinx now, Infinity Edge completed, Pro711 doesn't have his flash available. He has a decent amount of wave clear, and he has a team behind him, but this turret's going to take a lot of damage.
Oh, Milela gets pulled under the tower, but another beautiful lantern. Komikuzi is saving people left and right.
I wonder what those names mean.
Already chunked a half, though. I have no idea. I'm just trying to deal with them and not say the wrong one over and over again. It's confusing me enough.
Did they intentionally do that to mess with casters? Because if that's the case, that's pretty cruel, man.
You know, I just consider it a challenge.
True.
Going back to Queen, of course. It's a challenge against all the human race.
Oh, man. These sick references, man. Oh, but another turret taken in the top lane means it's now a 2,500 gold lead for Mission San Jose High School. So you know what? Komikaze says, so long as my opponent isn't here, I can win the lane. However, King in the top has done a decent amount of damage to this top turret, so I'd like to see him maybe try to bully that so they could pick up their first turret of the game and get some global gold around. For now, it looks like he might be roaming into the mid lane.
Speaking of globals, we do have Dragon coming up in about 8 or 9 seconds from now. And we have Rumble roaming down out of the top lane, so we might be seeing Fleetwood go for a fight around here. They do. That's the one decisive advantage in their favor here, though. Honestly, it's not too decisive. It's just a single Dragon buff for him.
There is a lot of wombo potential if either Gragas or Rek'Sai get on multiple members with the Orianna ball. That shockwave could be huge.
And while Trank is a support, I mean, gold or not, the Gragas ulti is still valuable. Because he gets chunked to about half health. That's not good. That's their smite right there, getting some health lost.
This is all about landing the poke now. Landing the zap, landing the command attack, landing that bouncing bomb. Whoever hits more probably going to be able to win the fight. And we see Hecarim waiting for the teleport. We are seconds away from what I'm assuming is going to be a very explosive fight.
And probably very decisive as well if Fleetwood wins it. If Fleetwood comes out ahead in this fight, it could prove the ladder that they need to climb out of this pit. I'll hook over the wall, lands onto Taimashi. Not who they want to go in on, though.
Yeah, positional advantage now in favor of Mission San Jose. They probably don't want to start this dragon, but oh my goodness, this dragon dance is so tense.
They do have the crab buff on the side of Fleetwood. That's going to help out quite a bit, especially consider it's uncontestable vision. That is what is so powerful about it, because other than the crab, that is just lit up blue all near that dragon pit. So it's probably one of the things that prevented Mission San Jose from going for that dragon, instead rotating mid.
I agree. How much damage they can do to this mid turret. They have the Jinx, they have the Ziggs. It's going to go down very quickly. Are we going to see the fight?
Tamashi is going to burrow in and unburrow out, and there is the double ulti from Orianna. Two people locked up right where they don't want to be. PI going to be going down as well to Arlight, and this looks to maybe be the way back in for Fleetwood. They do turn around a few kills, but it's going to be a 2-for-3 trade. Close fight, but still, if they can get a few more of those, if they can get this kill onto Malala, there's the heal. Arlight is incredibly low, though. Teleport in onto the tunnel. Trank is playing the front line, keeping him here, trying to keep this fight going long enough for King of the Top, but he stepped on a flame chomper. No.
Wait, the ult?
Doesn't land out. King of the Top eats it.
Arlight remembers the last time that he got ulted. And what
not a pleasant experience.
No, not at all. That was such a close fight. At the end there, Arlight almost got baited. He He went in. You should never use that arcane shift to go in on Ezreal, especially against the enemy AD carry, because you might be heal baited like you just saw. That being said, though, he does make it out alive, and actually that fight ended up being in favor of Fleetwood High School, if I'm not mistaken.
Crab is expired now at this point.
Yeah, the thing is, though,
that might be the dragon again under fire.
Jinx not in the area yet, and Rek'Sai teleport means we might just see another fight here instead.
And because he's just going to start it off right in the face of danger, he does peel away once Rek'Sai shows up.
And we're back to the game of skill shots.
The game of skill shots and ward control. In terms of ward control, it's been historically Mission San Jose winning it, but there are a few more red dots of light on the minimap.
Yeah, Fleetwood have a few wards on the map. At this point, though, they are going for the dragon instead of the turret. This turret's going to go down. The equalizer.
The equalizer only lands onto 2, though, and it's kind of alone off by itself away from the team fight. Komikaze will go down, but Pro 711 manages to get that kill. Trank, now what? He lives just by the skin of his teeth. 1 for 0 trade, hey. Trank, yeah, close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, not in League of Legends. Ooh, hook on the King of the Top. He's going to get played back. This might be the re-engage they need. The shockwave gets interrupted. Malala is getting hyped, and he is chasing them down. He gets the triple, and Kimikezi picks up another one off the back of it. That shockwave getting canceled was disastrous.
Mission San Jose's AD carry and mid laner this game have had incredible positioning, and really, especially Malala. He is 6-0-6. He hasn't gone down once so far. Now, 4,000 gold lead. Mission San Jose High School have the definitive advantage, and they also picked up a dragon. But if you're Fleetwood High School and you're talking about what's going wrong this game, I think a ban for Milala's Jinx might be important for the next time, if we go to game 3.
Or maybe just not giving up, maybe giving a lot more respect in the jungle. A lot more respect, because that snowballed the laning phase. That
did.
Really put Jinx ahead. And also, perhaps looking for the lane swap, trying to get King in the Top in the 1v1, because he just does so much better in it, as we're seeing right now, against Komikaze. Komikaze. Forcing the ult out. He might not get away, actually. Maybe I begin to speak too soon. The Gragasol tosses him the wrong way, though, and Komikaze will escape.
Now, Komikaze is not a kamikaze. He does make it out alive.
Is there a kamikaze?
There is no kamikaze.
Komikaze? Komikuzi? They don't even go with the opposite.
I know.
They don't like me.
They just want to troll us. All right. We're professionals. We move on.
I don't move on. I never forget.
Octavian never forgets. Never forgetting.
Getting pulled out of the bush there as Kimikezi shows up as well, and this might be a very dead Rek'Sai. Looks like that is the case. PA picking up that one, and nothing more to it than just a simple pick.
Yeah,
wrong spot at the wrong time.
Mission San Jose have not forgotten the fact that they have gotten picks onto Teimashi before. Kind of surprising considering he has that tremor sense, but I don't know what's going on with him. He hasn't had the best game himself. Last game was much better, but I really would like, just like you said, Fleetwood High School to respect the fact that Mission San Jose, you know, they do damage if they land these skill shots. Whoa, speaking of damage, they feel confident enough to start this Baron, and with Junkler down, might just get it. Fleetwood High School, no idea.
Malala with that minigun is going to be doing so much damage to a target just sitting there taking it, so this thing's going to go down pretty reliably. They don't need more than 3 people here. The jungler, an extra tank, and Malala's damage, more than enough.
That is now a 6,000 gold lead. Look at the gold difference between the individual champions. The Jinx is up over 3,000 gold against Arlight Ezreal. That is huge. Almost 1,000 gold difference in between the mid lane. Even King in the top lane is behind in gold simply because he's died so much. With a huge CS lead, he's still behind. Every single member of Mission San Jose High School are in the lead at this point, and with that Baron buff, their siege is going to be pretty damn strong because both Ziggs and Jinx are going to be very good at taking down turrets.
And it's not even just the gold lead, the level lead is here as well. PA and Malala are both level 13, and there's There's nobody. Only the solo laners on the side of Fleetwood are even at 12 yet.
3-shot barrage now to clear the wave, but that is on a very, very long cooldown.
And Ziggs is starting to become a menace. I mean,
Yep.
with that Luden's Echo completed and the cooldown reduction from Morello's, as well as the mana regen, he can afford to toss out bombs that hurt.
And it's nice that Malala has that Vamp Scepter now as well. He has a 55% crit chance, but he also has the sustain. Just in case he does get poked out, he can easily lifesteal back up and they continue the siege. Two members, both solo laners actually trying to deal with the split push means that it's actually going to be a full rotation in this top lane. Interesting. Gonna be able to clear it, but that
do manage to land some poke under tower. Kimikaze's taking a lot of damage here, though. He's below half health. There's the shockwave, but it only hits minions. The flash, at least, is burned. The Gragas ulti doesn't land either. This is disaster. Kimikaze going into the back lines.
Oh!
The turret falls. Malala gets a huge speed buff, and he's just going to wreak havoc here.
Mission San
Doesn't
Jose!
get the Quadra. Does he get the Quadra? Where's the announcement? No, that was stolen away.
Wow, what a fantastic fight. That's actually going to be the surrender vote coming out. 25 minutes in. Mission San Jose fight back. Octavian, we are going to a game 3.
And it seems like Mission San Jose, their strength is in the early game. They know how to play it, honestly, frankly, a little bit better than Fleetwood does. And they got to snowball that hard this time. Last time, Fleetwood managed to pull back from that deficit. It wasn't so falteringly huge that they couldn't, but this time it was just too big.
Yeah, definitely. So that's going to make for a very exciting game 3. But we are going to take a bit of a break. We'll play some music for you guys and be back in a couple of minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the High School Star League. I am Seamus Anderson, joined by Octavian today. We are with Game 3 between Fleetwood High School against Mission San Jose.
I think this is going to all come down to the early game. Judging by the last two games that we just saw, it'll be about whether or not we're going to be able to see Mission San Jose play out the early game well enough.
Yeah, and whether or not Fleetwood High School, if they can weather that early game storm, they definitely have a chance. But so far, I do know one thing, and that is simply because we are at a Game 3 that these teams have been quite evenly matched in a lot of respects. But let me just make sure that everything is good as far as the scoreboard is concerned. And Octavian, you are spectating the game, right?
Yep.
So 3, 2, 1, on pause.
And as far as picks go, looks like we're going off of the Gragas support and back to a bit more of a conventional one.
Everything else, though, pretty similar, honestly. Or at least similar to what we've seen.
Malala got the jinx again.
Yeah, that's... I'm not sure if I agree with that. He seemed very comfortable on that champion last game.
And he's got the backup to make it work as well, even better than last time. I mean, I think that Jinx and Morgana is just an incredibly strong pairing. They lack in mobility, but that spell shield, if placed correctly, can just be so hard to work against.
Oh. So, tried and true, Mission San Jose. They are looking for the pick.
Let's
this
see
time,
if
though,
Tamashi once again rides into the enemy jungle.
Third time's a charm. Maybe this time he won't die.
Oh, look, he's going to the other side of the map. That's
good.
Probably wise at this point, but maybe we'll see stage 2 of the Catch Taimashi plan as Mission San Jose invades into the enemy jungle.
That's their entire gameplay. They have to kill Taimashi. They're looking for him, man. But they're going for those...
stop at nothing.
Yeah. These deep wards that I'm assuming they're going to place just to see if there is going to be a lane swap or any shenanigans.
Oh, that one was placed a bit too close to the turret.
That's awkward. Game over. 1 CS in favor of Pro 711. Might as well AFK. But...
Speaking of Pro 711, something interesting. Looking at his build, he's decided to go far enough into the utility tree to get those total biscuits of rejuvenation.
Interesting. I'm assuming he just doesn't want to have too hard of a time against PA. Ziggs is a very good early game bully.
It's true. And we've seen enough early game come out from Mission San Jose.
Absolutely.
That's sort of insulating yourself against that. Seems like a pretty good option.
And speaking of early game plays, once again, Milala and Komi Kuze are making the lane swap happen. This time, though, King of the Top, he didn't go down to first blood. So let's see if this plays out any different from last game.
Yeah, and they might very well be expecting it as well. They might... There's a few different options they could take here. They could try and reinforce that top lane, keep the Rumble healthy and happy, or they could just give them up for lost and go and try and do their best to hold some other lanes to get advantages to make up for that disadvantage.
Now, though, we do see Komikaze and Kimikaze making plays happen. They're going for the blue buff steal on the top lane. I'm assuming Mission San Jose might go for the 4-man dive. In which case, I would feel terrible for King of the Top because he's had so much focus down. For good reason, too. San Jose know that he's their best solo queue star, and on one of his comfort champions, too, they want to make sure he has as little impact as possible.
They are trying to cage the Rumble Beast, and it worked very well last game. There's no reason not to try it again. They're giving up the blue buff for this, but they got a different one, so really all blue buffs are the same in the end.
They do know, we just saw the pings coming out, though. He's actually going to teleport away. That's pretty smart. Still. Summoner
Not much
down.
they could have done about that, but that is, yeah, as you said, Summoner down. King Zop might have a bit of a rough time in the 2v1 going forward without that one. Oh, Piercing Arrow doesn't connect on the PA. That's unfortunate. And with the Jinx up here in the top lane and 3 others to back her up, they might very well be getting a lot of damage onto this turret early on, as Komikaze teleports bottom lane to prevent the enemy team from doing the same.
Yeah, with the teleport advantage, he might as well just go to the spot lane. He's going to be in a 2v1 situation, but the 3v1 on top is going to be much worse for Fleetwood High School's turret. It probably is going to go down with this wave. Yep, one more auto. No, the armor is actually a little bit too much, but they most likely are going to get it in this next push. And they didn't pick up a kill, but lane swap once again in favor of Mission San Jose.
So, who do you think, in terms of champions, will come out better from a lane swap, though? Komikoze on Hecarim, or King of the Top on the Rumble?
Well, immediately we see he hasn't gotten a single minion. King of the Top. Yes, Rumble's the kind of champion that... Rumble, honestly, does okay in lane swap scenarios because he just needs a few core items that Haunting Guys, the Sorcerer's Boots, so that way he gets that magic pad and can do damage. However, if he's starved this hard for gold, the advantage would be in favor of the Hecarim. He's going to be going for the Trinity Force, most likely, but if he decides to just forego that and go tanky instead, then I'd say the advantage is absolutely in favor of Mission San Jose, because they know that King of the Top wants to be dealing damage on this Rumble, and he's just gotten his first minion after 5 minutes. That is a pretty good job of shutting him down early.
So it's more that the Hecarim gains the advantage because of the way that Mission San Jose played this situation.
Right.
And less because of the actual champion matchup, in quotes, since they're not actually matching up against one another.
Well, yeah, it's, I mean, in the 2v1, like, in lane swaps, it is up to the players to, and then the teams to also, you know, last hit as well. But in this situation, he was given no opportunity at all. So that is very good, Mission San Jose.
They're looking to transfer that early game advantage into an objective
and that's
as well.
Exactly
they
what they needed to.
It's perhaps a little bit risky, but they, basically there's only a risk of a steal here. Taimashi might be able to take it. I don't think they'll be able to get a fight, though. Oh, no. That's going to be secured by Kimikaze, and actually a flash burn by Taimashi as well.
That became riskier than it should have been. I was actually going to say right before they went for the dragon that, yes, they have this early advantage, but they cannot let Rumble start farming and coming back because that's what he's been doing. And they need to keep pressuring the advantages that they have. So we do see them take that dragon, although it's really close. Komikuzi getting hit. He's dead.
And he Black Shield's way too late. Komikuzi burning from the Ignite. Might go down here. Flash forward. Black Shield does not stop auto attack.
Lala does a lot of damage, but...
He has no heal. He burns the flash. Double kill for Corki. Arlight bringing his team back into the game here. Komikaze is going to be dashing forward on all 4 hooves, but does not catch up in strength.
Oh, the Ignite!
But Ignite
oh
is
my goodness.
The Prey Seeker, he dodges to the side. BA now in a 1v1 with Pro 711 in the mid lane. Takes a huge amount of damage. There are a bunch of stacks on him, but the barrier will keep him alive.
Wow, that's going to be 2 kills onto Arlight and his Corki. We've seen the Ezreal from him twice now, and we finally get to see another one of his champions. But he does go for Trinity Force champions. I guess just as far as his playstyle is concerned, he loves playing them.
He's not going the tier here, which I think is going to help Fleetwood out so much.
Yeah, especially the fact...
Not having to deal with that sort of dull spot in their roster.
Right, that's the thing. Their team has a bit of a power trough with that Varus, but the fact is that this Corki's going to immediately be going for that Trinity Force, and not only that, but he also has 2 kills over the Jinx. I'm assuming so long as they play it right, they're going to be able to bully Bilala and Komikuze quite hard, and they're going to be power spiking much, much sooner.
It remains to be seen exactly how hard they do bully, but there it goes. Starting already, the Phosphorus Bomb does get dodged out of, but Arlight is keeping him away from the minion waves. They're freezing as best they can here, even though they do have the larger wave.
A bit of a delayed push, trying to deny as many minions as they can. It's going to be interesting to see now how Mission San Jose respond. We do see Kimikaze walking around in the enemy jungle, but he's actually going to get spotted out. That being said, though, Taimashi is pretty low.
And, well, I mean, we saw the lane swap again, but it was not nearly as impactful this game. And that may be down to the flash, that may be down to the fact that King in the top really respected them a lot more this time. He even teleported away to try and escape that. He didn't attempt to stay under the tower, and he's coming out ahead for it. He's got the CS lead, he's in the 1v1 that he loves so much, and it's working out much better for him.
Yeah, this is great for Fleetwood High School. This is the first time in the series that we've seen early dominance from them. Ro16 doesn't have flash.
Phosphorus bomb from R-Light does do a huge amount of damage, but Kimikaze is behind. The lantern might be enough to save him. And it is indeed, as Kimikaze chooses to leave off chase. It definitely will not be at this point. Ziggs has not had time to get up those big items he needs. It looks like he's working on the Morellonomicon first.
Yep, Morellonomicon, fairly standard build, going to be able to provide that damage, cooldown reduction, mana regen, all these things and more that Ziggs likes. But they do force R-Light out, so he's going to lose a little bit as far as this wave is concerned. However, that's really not a problem for Fleetwood. They're just biding their time, waiting for those power spikes to happen. And once they do, they are probably going to feel absolutely comfortable to fight. I'm guessing they're definitely going to fight this next dragon because they're gold. They have the gold lead. Yes, they don't have the first dragon buff, but this early in the game, that percentage multiplier isn't going to be doing as much as sheer gold and sheer sats. Oh, Milala.
Back, but the hook is down. Trank missed it earlier. Looks like they'll get a lot of damage onto the Milala anyways, though. Oh, one more rocket. But Komikuzi is body blocking as best he can. The explosion is not large enough to land. Dark Lightning just about flies over R-Light's shoulder.
Oh, man.
It's a bit more damage because of it. But Trank missing that hook. I mean, they still push metal in. They still get the lead here. They get damage on the turret. But it's got to feel so bad, because had it landed, it would have definitely been a kill. That one lands, though. He pulls R-Light over with the lantern. Another tunnel is going to be followed over. So many tunnels. This man is weaving a vast network, and it might be enough to have him escape. No, the play after Taimashi's ulti. It took a long time, but they managed to get their third kill.
Yeah, Frank had enough of his playing around with those tunnels. Am I right? Am I right? Anyway, so Dragon wasn't up. I'm sorry, Octavian. I had to at least throw it. I had to throw it at least one. That is true. But the nice thing for Mission San Jose is, yes, they lost a member, but the Dragon wasn't up yet, so no real objectives taken from Fleetwood High School. King of the top. That's just disrespectful, man. He is not a kind king.
He is definitely not, but he is earning his regality right now. He's got a 20 CS lead after coming out from a 2v1 lane, which we saw last game he doesn't always handle well, but he certainly learned very quickly.
I don't know, man. Haven't you watched Game of Thrones? Joffrey was a pretty mean king, and he didn't end up too well, so I don't know if the top's going to be doing alright if he keeps on BMing Komikaze. For now, though, he's still in that 1v1 lane that he does love so much and is doing just fine. Both top laners have teleport up as well, and with Dragon up in 15 seconds, we might see them fight solo on the top lane, or we might see them go down to Dragon instead.
I'd expect to see the Dragon play, especially with King's teleport
well,
up.
He could potentially just go for a dive or take the turret. King of the top, because he is so far ahead, has a lot of different options.
Yeah, and that's the way he likes it. He doesn't seem to like to sit still and just wait patiently for his farm under the turret. He likes to take what he wants.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, actually, that they've let King of the Top have Rumble every single game. I know he's not a one-trick pony, you know, he plays other champions, but I feel that Mission San Jose really didn't respect it. Speaking of not respecting, Kimikaze did not respect that.
That was good coordination. They saw the pick and they lunged at it, chaining all that CC together.
Yeah, he had
there was no way out of it for Kimmy, even with flash up.
He had no idea that both Thresh and Sejuani were in the area, and that's why we didn't see him really fear the Varus ultimate coming out. That being said, it's probably going to be dragged out. Tamashi's low. I think they can secure it.
Coming out from that Ziggs ulti.
Still tanking.
Snared up as well. Here comes Nalela. He doesn't get the kill. I thought he got the dragon. I thought that was where the type came from, but no, he just gets a kill. Well, I see he gets a double kill here. King in the top now, trapped way out of position. He goes down.
Arlight's dead.
PA gets a kill. A triple kill for the Jinx. Arlight is going to be going down to Kimikaze, and they got the dragon, but at what cost?
Wow. What a play. Mission San Jose.
They are not out of this one.
No, they are not. They're gonna be able to pick up their second turret of the game. They didn't manage to get the dragon, but so much damage coming out of PA's Diggs and the Binks from Milala. This is still a very close game, but now 1,000 gold lead to Mission San Jose. That's definitely something they want because that top lane was hurting. Their other lanes, they were doing alright. Now that gold...
Arlight didn't have a completed Trinity Force.
Yeah, they found a perfect fight. They fought on awkward power spikes, and I mean, we just saw Kimi Kezi, he got caught out, but the carries were still alive, and the carries do a lot of damage.
Looks like they might be able to take advantage of the swing in the mid lane here to take the turret, but against the Ziggs, that's going to be difficult.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, like, ever.
It was like, Octavian, you do realize the enemy team's playing as Ziggs, right? You really expect them to
forgotten for a blissful moment. For one blissful moment, I thought this game might end.
If only that champion weren't around.
No, it's not quite as bad as some.
Yeah.
Vladimir.
Oh, not a fan of the man in red.
I have a special distaste for some champions.
Vlad is
singular.
Yeah, that's a pretty good champion to have a distaste for. Mine is Fizz, personally, but I also play him a lot, so it's a little bit of hypocrisy.
Yeah, I would say so.
Every time I play against a Fizz, I'll laugh at how stupid he is. Every time I play as Fizz, I'll laugh at how stupid he is, so Fizz is a double-edged sword. Anyway, back to champions in this game.
Yeah, that's probably more relevant, I would say. Trinity Force still on the horizon for Arlight here. He hasn't been able to finish that one off, despite the double kill earlier. There's actually an item power spike for Malala quicker than he got to his. He got the Infinity Edge already on the Jinx.
Ooh, Arlight gets for the binding. And the zap.
There'll be a zap as well, so
nice.
Just some poke.
Yep. Good little amount of poke coming out from this Mission San Jose bot lane. They land some more. Arlight and Trank might be in a bit of trouble, as they are sitting on that power trough, like you said. Another binding.
Ooh, connects as well, followed up by the Chompers. Arlight is not moving for a long time. Finally, he does get out of the way of Malala's ulti. And out of the way of the Ziggs ulti. Surviving just by a hair.
I think Malala probably should have just gone...
Jinx on a turret.
Yeah, that's turret definitely going to go down, but I think Malala actually could have picked up the kill there. If instead of going for the Super Mega Death Rocket, he was in auto attack range, I feel if he had just gone for the regular auto attack instead. That being said, though, we got a couple of crits, so maybe he didn't predict that. Either way, they do pick up the turret. So that is still good for Mission San Jose. They're just going to let the creeps deny it as long as they can. And PA's ultimate is down, but he has blue buff, he has Merlinomicon completed, so he's sitting on at least 30% cooldown reduction. That's going to be a pretty...
Komikuzi is landing these pretty well.
Yeah.
That one not quite as impactful as the last one we saw, but still.
Hey, 5 gold.
Good. Yeah, it's true. Oof. Pro 711 starting to hurt, though.
The Brutalizer completed. That flat armor penetration is so effective on mid lane Varus. Komikuzi Malala.
You're sitting in the bush.
Tricky. Land the binding.
Look for the binding. There's a lot of minions here, though. It's making it a bit difficult to land. Arlight is now in position for it to land, but it flies past him, no. And the hook onto Kimikezi. He's going to give Trank away over the wall, using that Rek'Sai as an escape.
Octavian, we psyched him out. As soon as you say something, it's the caster's curse. As soon as we say he's been landing so many bindings, he misses the point-blank one.
Even in a replay.
Yeah. Even in replay.
Back into the past.
Hey man, the curse doesn't care about your timelines. The curse affects everyone everywhere. But
doesn't seem to be affecting King in the top. He is still holding on to this lead. He's died once, admittedly, but he's got a nearly 30 CS lead over his opponent, and he is melting away Komi's health bar.
Komikuzi again going for the Merc Treads, then building on that Trinity Force. I don't know if perhaps going a different item path might be better, just going for a cowl immediately, then building it to the Trinity Force. Either way, it really has also been a part that just King of the Top is such an excellent Rumble player. He has done a very good job of showing Komikuzi who is the boss. That being said, we saw Mission San Jose play around that last game very well when they won the game in 25 minutes. So let's see what they can do this game.
Malala just roamed by the top lane. It looked like he was looking for some sort of gank, but that's a bit odd to see the AD carry do at this point. We might be seeing something happen up here, something a little bit unorthodox if Malala does choose to commit.
He better help.
The corner through the try. Komikozy is getting into the fight here. The zap lands on the king on the top. There's the equalizer, but he's going to be going down. Komikozy gets healed. Malala survived, but Trank is here, and he's got a lot of friends in tow. Pro 711 Roman from the mid lane will be able to pick up a revenge kill.
There are 4 members in this top lane. That means Zig's going to have a field day in the mid lane. Trank
is down below
as well.
Komikozy is looking for another binding here. Or perhaps not, just really buying time maybe to allow Paye to continue on the push that you just mentioned.
Paye now in trouble. He's going to get stunned. No, actually. Good flash.
Flash over the wall.
They don't pick up the turret.
Ult for a flash trade, though, generally pretty worth it.
Yeah, especially because this dragon buff is up now. Fleetwood High School, they should try and go to contested. That being said, though, recall coming out of Teimashi means this dragon might go over to Mission San Jose for free.
And the way this fight plays, actually, at the dragon, it might not be worth it to have traded that ult for the flash, because Ziggs can stand way far back. He doesn't necessarily need the flash unless something terrible happens, but the Sejuani ult being down is just going to be so impactful that the fight doesn't actually seem to formulate, perhaps because of that ult being missing.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Technically, in terms of timers, having the lower cooldown or wasting a cooldown for a higher cooldown on the enemy is generally the better trade. That being said, though, you're absolutely right. I mean, there's really nothing else for me to say. Sejuani needs that ultimate to impact the team fight, to get that AoE stun, and if she can't do so, you know, they're not going to be able to contest that dragon. So that is dragon number 2 over to Mission San Jose.
Yeah, the map control really in favor of Mission this game. They've got a 2-turret lead, and they're pulling ahead in terms of dragons as well. Arlight is just about hitting a power spike here with that Trinity Force completed. So maybe we see a good fight come out for Fleetwood. But it's just about even at this point, I'd say.
Yep. It's really just going to depend on who is going to hit whom and how much damage they do. Both teams have a lot of damage. Both teams have semi-immobile carries. So it's really going to be positioning in battle. I've been very impressed with the fact that both Mission San Jose and Fleetwood have been letting their team play carry top laners. They have multiple damage threads. That is really entertaining to see, and that also means that these teams have a lot of depth, which is something that you know, sometimes don't even see in LCS teams. And these are high school teams.
Ooh, half health gone from Komikozy, and Trank is coming in to try and follow up. Doesn't quite get in range in time, though. That pony is quick.
That turret is very low, though. They're probably going to be able to pick it up. Yep.
Yeah, the lantern just to shield out a turret shot there, and Trank and King will
gold
take even more for their domain.
Gold is pretty much dead even. 500 gold at this point. Insignificant. What a close game. Close series, too. I mean, the last game was a bit of a stomp, but the first game was very, very close. And at this point, neither team has a clear advantage.
Perhaps the advantage could be said to go over to Mission San Jose simply because there's a somewhat significant gold advantage in Malala's pocket. He's got about 600 to 700 gold over the enemy AD carry right now, and that may prove impactful in one of these fights, since these AD carriers are going to be such cornerstones of their team comps.
That being said, though, Malala is at the point where Jinx recently, I think 2 or 3 patches ago, she was nerfed so that her mid game is very, very weak because her attack speed isn't going to be as strong as it could be. And Corki is an AD carry that thrives in the mid game. Yes, he is behind, but really Trinity Force and Sorcerer's Shoes, those are the 2 items that he wants, so he can do a ton of damage. It's not wrong to say that Mission San Jose have an advantage because their AD carry has so much gold. But just as far as the power spikes of each of these champions are concerned, I mean, Fleetwood High School, they would have no problem fighting right now. And honestly, 1v1, I don't know who would win between Arlight and Malala. It'd really be up to luck.
And skill shots.
Well, yeah.
If that phosphorus bomb connects, or if the chompers land particularly, we might be seeing Malala come out ahead, if that 1v1 ever does happen. But the way this game seems to be going, with both teams grouping mid and rotating around to try and keep the lanes shoved out, I don't think we'll be seeing that 1v1 happen, most likely.
Yeah, we might just see the teams go for a little farm. like we mentioned before, it is very, very hard to siege on either side, really. Corki, Ziggs, Jinx, Varus, all champions that provide wave clear. Oh, we talked about the 1v1.
Maybe we do.
No, but there's a Rek'Sai here. That's cheating. Oh, that's cheating.
That is cheating. The flash unburrow, but the zap is way off to the side. Heal is going to keep Arlight in safety. Right?
I disapprove of that. Come on, Milala.
But he did call in the Thresh at the last second for a Lantern as well, so it was sort of even. Thresh to somewhat make up for that disadvantage.
Really well done by Kimikaze, though, to flash the Valkyrie, forcing out both summoners from Arlight.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate that that zap flew to the left, predicted incorrectly where Arlight was going to try and go.
The scumbag play, but it was the right play. However, like you said, they didn't pick up the kill. They do pick up the dragon advantage. Ooh. Okay.
Komikuzi not even pulling the trigger in the black shield.
I don't know if he had the reaction to do so in time because he didn't know it was coming, or did he? Nope. No words.
Maybe he didn't. Maybe he did and he's confident. Maybe he didn't and he just didn't have the reaction.
We'll never know.
Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to say he's confident.
That's true.
He's a confident guy. He knew he could dodge it. Well, here comes the Rek'Sai ulti, and Dragon will be up in just about a minute, so that is right on time.
Speaking of Komikuzi, actually, I want to highlight the fact, look at his items. He's going for a Righteous Glory on this Morgana. Now, I actually like it a lot because their engage isn't incredibly strong. The fact that, you know, Morgana can just run at your team and go for that engage is pretty smart choice. That being said, though, if he's not going to have that Zonius, he has to be careful because he will be very squishy.
One of the nice little side effects of getting the earlier Righteous Glory against a team with a Varus on it, and a Corki as well, is that it helps you sort of survive through that poke with the health gained on level up and the mana as well. So it's a nice little side effect specifically against the team comp he's lined up against.
Yeah, he just needs to watch out as far as Morgana playstyle is concerned. You know, normally you'll see supports rush that Zonia's, and occasionally they'll rush Distortion Boost to get that flash ult to the Zonia's combo. This is going to make him need to play the style-wise a little bit differently, but you could debate that it's more beneficial to his team. 25 minutes, 30 seconds, and Dragon is up. Skill shots, man. That's been the name of the game for both these teams.
The bindings and the piercing arrows. It's just a matter of which ones land and where. Oh. Dragon getting taken down now by the side of Mission San Jose, but Trank is looking for the engage here. The black shield goes into Kumi, but he doesn't get hit by the hook. However, it looks like Komi is going to be coming in on the backside with a beautiful teleport, but he's forced to ult out. The damage is too much for him to sustain, and there is Taimashi with an ult of his own. The hail of arrows will slow down Kimikaze, but nobody's going to go on chasing. Too many health bars. Well, Pro will go on chasing, actually. 7-7 in kills now as King of the Top looks to make it 8-7. The black shield and the flash. Komikuzi
kill shots.
No chances here. Pro 7-1-1.
Just kidding.
He's there to clean it up along with.
Whoa, Milala!
Oh, flash from Milala. Here's going aggressive. I guess he trades 1 for 1, but that's shutdown to King in the Top, and he's dead when this push is happening in the mid. Ziggs has a lot of wave clear, but I don't know if it's enough.
Mission San Jose, what were they thinking? They picked up the 1 for 1, they picked up the Dragon, but then individually their members went in 1 by 1 and died. They're gonna lose turret now, yep. Down.
And the shutdown gold goes to King in the Top. I mean, he had a good time in the lane anyways, but he wasn't really, like, crushingly ahead. That is going to help so much.
Yeah, Octavian, at this point, it is a problem with, you know, non-LCS teams, and to a certain extent LCS teams too. In competitive play, how often do you get to actually practice the series? And how often do you get to play in a series that goes to multiple games, that goes like to game 3 or to game 5? I think that might have just been each of the players showing a little bit of fatigue, because that was huge individual mistakes. That being said, though, they're still only down 1,000 gold, and they do have 3 dragon buffs. So that'll balance it out a little bit more, but they need to be careful and remain grouped. Because if something like that happens again, but High School will take no problem just taking that advantage and rolling with it.
It's certainly possible to come back from that fight. In fact, there might not even be any coming back. It might be simply that the side of Fleetwood got even with that one. But you don't want to give up advantages. Komikaze is going to be giving up one in the top lane. His ult is forced, and he might be going down anyways, as Pro 7-11 is there to cut him off at the flank.
Every member of the team.
He's a horse.
Every member of the team got that an assist or a kill on that as they set Komikaze into the glue factory. Now Komikuze's in trouble.
Oh, hook doesn't land though.
They're going for the Baron. This is risky.
Especially against a Ziggs, that is one of the most difficult champs to pull off a Baron against.
Yeah.
And it looks like they'll peel off from it.
So Komikaze...
Not a bit over-aggressive there, but they compensated.
Yeah, I mean, they picked up a pick thinking about going for the Baron, but unable to. Now they're going to try and siege. They normally would have a great siege composition, however, against Dinks, Ziggs, good luck, man. You're going to need it.
I don't think there's a siege comp in the world.
Yeah. Oh.
Unless they land a lot of poke in the PA. Oh, the hook flies out, but it was a little bit too far to the right.
Kill shots, man. Left and right.
He was trying to predict the Ziggs and didn't end up getting it.
Trank
He's actually at half health himself now, yeah.
So they, once again, what a surprise! The Ziggs successfully stops the siege.
Oof. He takes another piercing arrow to the face, though. But there's no one around to capitalize on that, so it looks like he'll just head on home back to base.
But man, Pro 711 has landed a lot of these.
Lands the ult as well, but that was a bit questionable. There was no one else there. I mean, we did see a huge follow-up on one of those earlier, but this time, huge or not, there just wasn't any follow-up.
Maybe he just wanted to let him know that he can land those whenever he wants. He's like, you know, I don't got follow-up, man, but you better watch yourself.
It's a pride thing.
Yeah.
Looks like they're going to head on home back to the mid lane where they are going to continue this push. Some aggression into the jungle as well, but that red buff is already gone.
Also, Pro 711's ultimate has a less than 60-second cooldown because he does have blue buff and so much cooldown reduction. So, or at the time he had blue buff. So just the fact that he used it really didn't matter because it's already going to be up soon. And they're going to try the siege again. Fleetwood, I don't really know about this. Yes, you have landed your skill shots, but you can take those waves down from so far away.
Yeah, it's really reliant on Pro 711 right here. Like, if he lands good piercing arrows, specifically on PA, they can make this work. But otherwise, they need a pick. They need a thresh hook to land.
And not a good piercing arrow, good piercing arrows. They need to land at least 2, probably 3, onto this Ziggs if they want to make the siege happen.
Or one hook, which is conceivably easier.
But against Morgana, it's also going to be super hard.
Yeah, it's a really good team comp that has been put together by San Jose here. They are turtling up and doing it well.
Fleetwood High School have a strong composition of their own. You know, it's focused to team fight and focused for sieging. However, I do think Mission San Jose have done a good job of countering it.
Yeah, they're just opting out of the team fights and countering the pushing, countering the siege by having more powerful push. But PA does get hit by an Electro Harpoon as well as a piercing arrow, half health.
And we've been here for a couple of minutes, I feel like.
Probably at least that. Feels like longer, but...
Oh, good hook!
Oh, hooking Malala with the Black Shield against the follow-up. Komikuze, though, he goes down very, very low, but Trank has nobody else to go over the wall with him.
Trank. Buddy.
He was just tired of the push.
Oh, man. That reminds me of a game in solo queue where I did a situation similar to him. It was like a 60-minute game. 60-minute-long game. And I was the Thresh. And I was a garbage Thresh player. And at the, you know, I just had enough because we were sieging. It was a long game. I just flashed hook, missed everything, and then died, and we lost the game. And just seeing Trank do that gave me flashbacks to that one solo queue game once upon a time. But talk about this game right now. Trank did make that misplay happen, but Mission San Jose were unable to pick up any objectives or any objective vision control around this Dragon. So it looks like Dragon might be going over to Fleetwood. However, they might look to fight it instead.
Just about down. There's the equalizer from King of the Top. It does get secured by Fleetwood. King of the Top popping into the zone to keep himself alive a little bit longer. The Flame Choppers lands very nicely. Teimashi will bring down the kill on the Kozikami.
It's close.
Komikaze with Kimikezi.
Oh,
going down. There's so many names. How do I say them all? Pro 711 gets
Ace.
down. Malala is getting hyped once again, and he plays these Jinx team fights beautifully. Another triple kill. That is the 4th of the series. Ace. For the side of Mission San Jose, they may transfer this into a Baron.
They might try to go for this Baron. I think it's going to be a little bit risky since they only have one tank. That being said, though, Malala is pretty strong, so we'll see. In that fight, though, Bilala and PA I think everyone really had a great positioning, but those two specifically managed to stay alive. Oh, the Baron!
Oh my god,
MVP.
Baron's doing more work
They're not
than
gonna get it.
Fleetwood ever did. Malala, no, you can't handle it.
Wow, man, that's a little
Cannot
harsh.
handle that Baron.
Fleetwood got close. Softened them up so Baron could take it down. But that's not any objectives after that one team fight. Now, King at the top, they might actually go for this Baron. But if that's the case, there are 3 members from Mission San Jose still alive. Oh my god. Octavian, they're doing it.
The closest tunnel is
Don't try this at home, kids.
Yamashi is here. They don't have Corki or Varus yet, though, so the thing is not losing very many hit points. Here comes Alright. Kamikaze just going to speed his way out of there, though.
Move
4
away.
hooves is better than 2 jets.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Alright, good.
Tamashi is waiting in the bush, though. He wants some revenge for all those times that he walked into a bush.
Wasn't on a ward, so he might have been able to get it, but first sniff that out. Trinity Force and Spirit of Massage completed for Komikaze now, so he is relevant. Actually has even CS compared to King at the top, even though he did have a hard time in lane. That's good for him to come back in that sense. But with only a 2,000 gold lead, that is still not a definitive advantage for Mission San Jose. Yes, and they have the Dragon buff, and yes, they have the gold lead, and yes, they have a pretty good comp to counter it, but if I were a betting man, I'd still only say like 60 to 40 odds.
But 60 to 40 is not too terrible.
No, I mean...
It's only a little worse than half and half, and I think with PA in their back pocket, they can pull that out. PA has been doing incredibly well this game. We haven't really highlighted that enough, because he's been playing... Well, he's Ziggs. He's been playing kind of passively, but he's 2-0-9. He's got the Death Cap and the Ludens. He's gonna hurt, and he's got a blue buff to back it up.
Yeah, he has played fantastic so far. Hasn't died at all. He's the only person in the game who actually has managed to make that happen. Hopefully they don't jinx it and he dies immediately, but instead, King of the top. Oh, the Lantern is still up.
But the Lantern will not time out. He manages to escape there.
Lantern stays up for a long time. That's scary, though. Because right skill shot lands.
It's not a huge cooldown, but it's something. They might be able to make something happen with that. Hook onto Komikaze, but not going to be followed up. Was fishing for the jinx, but caught a horse instead.
The right skill shot lands!
Oh, good lord! The follow-up is there from as far away as they need it to be.
Man, I love these
You're
teams.
Half health and you get hit by a binding.
Yeah, this is so fun, but this must be so stressful to play as. Because you get hit one time and you're dead.
Komikaze is going to be flashing out of that one, the black shield, keeping them alive for a bit longer as Trank doesn't have a shield for himself. Komikaze, though, standing on the red carpet, but he is tanky. He doesn't seem to mind. He can take the heat. He will be in the kitchen as long as he wants to.
Lala's really strong right now.
Yeah, and he's bringing it to bear on that inhibitor turret. It's getting melted away. He is spell immune, but he is not damage immune. Malala, back up a little bit. King in the top is coming in to try and show him the error of his ways, but he's overheated, and Malala will escape.
After all said and done, that middle inhibitor turret is going to be very, very low, and now a 4,000 gold advantage to Mission San Jose. Malala needs to be careful, but they do manage to land, you know, just a few skill shots. This really has been a game of inches. Just a couple of pixels off for one team wins the fight. A couple of pixels off for one team manages to make the pick happen. Trank, we saw him actually land a skill shot and get a little bit baited once again. Honestly, I'm not sure how comfortable he is with Thresh and how much he knows about the limits of his champion, but we've seen him get caught a couple of times. I really like...
Perhaps it's less the Thresh specifically, and it's more the Thresh versus Morgana matchup. He's not...
Yeah.
He's not respecting the black shield enough, and he's going in on targets who are even shielded up. Like he's doing it once again. There's the Varus ulti burned, and Trank isn't able to flay him back.
Yeah, you can't catch a tanky member of the enemy team with an escape next to your enemy's Morgana. Like, I really don't like the fact that they committed to the Varus ultimate, and that you saw Trank take the
They
Q.
need to find some way to get that black shield down before Trank lands a hook, because Trank is going in on all of these hooks. He just sees red when those connect. So if the rest of his team can do something to make it so that'll work, that'll be great for him.
Right. What they should do is they should just hit the Q, Morgana's in the area, bait out the black shield, and then go in. Hit the Q again, or just engage
Yeah,
with Sejuani.
if you land the hook, it is a much shorter cooldown than the Black Shield.
Exactly. It's not as if they're lacking in engage. They just need to make sure that they can bait out the shield one time and not engage on top of it, because otherwise we'll see situations like at that inhibitor turret before, Sejuani ultimate onto one member, and guess what? That member was Black Shielded.
Yeah, and next to their secondary turret in the mid lane, when they were doing that everlasting push, it was a hook onto a Black Shielded enemy that stopped the push, that gave them not so much a disadvantage, but dissipated their advantage. And they really need to respect this Morgana more.
They really do, and all credit to Komikuzi. He's had a really good game, 0-3-12. Just Mission San Jose in general, I feel like they have played very well as a team, as a unit. At least 4 of them have been involved in over 10 of the kills that their team has. They're going for this dragon.
Oh, doesn't quite get stolen away. That will be taken down by Kinikezi as the equalizer drops in a bit of an awkward spot. King in the top, forces the Zonius. He's going to be going down here. Malala is unstoppable, and he's got that extra speed. He's going to easily be able to chase the remainder of the enemy team down. Trank rather, will be the sacrificial lamb on the platter of Malala's machine gun.
Now, this middle...
Dragon and 2 kills.
Yeah, middle turret is down. If they're going to go for the Baron instead, that might be the better call. They will decide to go for this. There is hardly any real... Yeah, there's no way that Fleetwood High School is going to be able to contest this. So Mission San Jose High School, they're going to be up over 6,000 gold in this game.
And their team comp is just better at this point. The Varus is not going to be as strong as PA Ziggs is in a team fight, and nowhere near as strong as Malala will be. The Corki versus Jinx matchup, as you go past the 40-minute mark, which we are just about approaching, is so heavily in favor of Jinx.
Yeah, and just the fact that he's this far ahead. You saw how much the crits do. Crits doing over 1,000 damage. He's going to be able to buy that QSS now, so not only does he have the protection of the Black Shield, but also has peel for himself just in case things go wrong, and another Aegis of the Legion being worked on for Mission San Jose. I have been so impressed with their team play.
Yeah, I mean, the Quicksilver Sash just makes so much sense right now because there's really only one thing that can shut him down, and if he positions correctly, and that is a Thresh Hook connecting. They have so much insurance against that, it basically doesn't exist at this point. Trank has to get through the Black Shield and a Quicksilver Sash, which means potentially 3 hooks have to land before one of those hooks matters.
Yeah, Fleetwood High School now, they really need to line these up, otherwise they are going down. Komikuzi gets caught.
He's going to be going in on it, but this time the Black Shield is not enough, even if it came out. He died so quickly. Trank finally getting a hook that really worked for him.
Yeah, that being said though, what can they take now? 6,000 gold behind, you get a pick onto the enemy support, but your waves are all pushing against you. Both Dragon and Baron are gone. A bit of a misplay from Komikuze. You know, he doesn't have the Zonias. He can't play so aggressively, especially when his team isn't around. But still, Mission San Jose High School have the advantage. The only thing Fleetwood got for that is they get to stall the Baron timer a little.
Clear a few of their jungle camps, get a bit more gold, but at this point that's not really going to matter as much. It's so much more about who dies and when than it is about farm or gold or anything like that anymore.
At this point in the game, the timers are going to be pretty long, 40, 50 seconds, if not longer. You really, really want to catch Milala or PA out if you're Fleetwood High School, but they have just positioned so effectively, and we've seen so much peel and support from the rest of the members of Mission San Jose that I don't know if Fleetwood High School can make that pick happen. You know, they have multiple forms of crowd control, but they're all based on skill shots, and that makes it such a tough composition to play as the game goes on.
I'm a little bit surprised at Trank's item... Well, actually, no, doesn't look like he's going to fall up on the hook, but I am a little bit surprised at Trank's item choice here. He's gone with the Spirit Visage, which is quite good against the amount of AP he's facing off against, but it's a little bit selfish, and on top of it, it's delayed. A lot of Threshes, as they go later into the game, and we are definitely later into the game, like to start with the Relic Shield and then turn that into the coin so that they can get the speed buff later on in the game. And he's still sitting on a Relic Shield from back in laning phase, and that is not helping at all at this point. that health is basically irrelevant, and he's never getting the stacks off, and even when he does, it's 40, 50 HP. That doesn't matter.
Yeah, and also the Spirit Visage, it's not as if Thresh has much self-healing. Yes, he has the Righteous Glory, but he doesn't really get great use of the passive. On the flip side...
I would say perhaps an Aegis, but there is a Aegis on Taimashi already. Maybe better to have the Aegis on Trank, and then...
Yeah.
Whoa, Malala is godlike!
And before that was going to happen, I was going to say, on the flip side, we see the Banner of Command coming out of Komikuze. I love that pickup, because that just means that they can keep sieging, and they're going to have pressure around the other lanes without having super minions up already. And we saw Trank going down again. Now, Fleetwood High School, they made some mistakes as a team. I don't really want to be like too critical of one player, but Trank has had a pretty rough series. Trank.
It might just be that fatigue that you're talking about earlier. Not used to playing best of 3 scenarios. Not used to having to spend 2-3 hours in this sort of stressful environment, honestly.
Yeah, it is pretty big toll on the players when you're playing for, you know, tens of thousands of dollars. These are the best teams in the country, and the pressure really has gotten high. As a high school student, can you imagine being like, out of thousands of teams, you're one of the top 16 teams in the country? Like, even now, I couldn't imagine that kind of pressure. That must be crazy. But,
And PA is handling it incredibly well.
Yes, he is.
3-0-13, guy still hasn't died. He's finished a Void Staff at this point. Needlessly large on top of that. Probably going into his zone, yes, I wouldn't be surprised. He could use a defensive item at this point.
Yeah, you know, I generally like to go Lichbane actually instead, because it does give you extra turret pushing power, but just to be safe, if he ever gets engaged on, he wants to have that zone is. I really don't think he'd ever use it, honestly, just because he has had such traditionally good positioning.
Well, even against the poke, it's valuable because there's just so much AD.
That's true. That being said, though, he went for the NLR first. He didn't go that Seeker's Arm Guard, but at this point, probably not going to matter that much. Dragon. This would be Dragon number 5 for Mission San Jose High School. And this would be Dragon number 3 for Fleetwood. So obviously Fleetwood are going to try and stop this from happening. They have the crab. That's good, but Taimashi...
Oh no, that's followed up by the snare as well, but Komikuze gets stunned up alongside Kimikezi, but Trank is going way too aggressive again. Malala is legendary, he gets the reset. Here comes Arlight, but he is way too deep. Malala still has all his health. I don't know what Arlight was looking to accomplish there, but it certainly wasn't crashing and burning into the ground like that. The binding, once again, the beginning of this fight and the end of it. Taimashi getting snared up, and Taimashi going very,
and that
very
might just be game. We did see the surrender last game. Malala, can he get the ace? He's got it.
And he looks to get another one. Throw 117 will go down to a crit.
Malala's Jinx. For any other team in the High School Star League, you might want to ban this guy's Jinx. He has performed on it.
Yeah, he is really, really good at the team fighting on Jinx, using that passive to its maximum potential.
There we go.
Rockets as well. That will be a surrender. GG to both teams.
So after a best of 3 series, Mission San Jose are going to take it. They're going to move on to the round of 8 in the High Star League. We are done for tonight, guys, but we will be back tomorrow night. Not sure what time yet, but we're going to have more HSL games for you. So look forward to that. As for your casters, I have been Seamoose. You can follow me at Seamoose1 on Twitter if you'd like. Talk to me about the game. Talk to me about life. Talk to me about anything really. But also, please follow my co-caster, whatever social media he has.
My name is Octavian. You can find me at OctavianZilch on Twitter if you are so inclined. And it's been a pleasure casting with you, Seamus.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, please also, of course, don't forget to follow our social media for HSL Star League. That's HSL Star League on Facebook as well as Twitter, and then High School Star League for YouTube. And of course, as always, thank you very much to our sponsors, Twitch, Tespa, Loot Crate, Newegg, Rockhat, MSI, and Jinx for providing all the support. Without them, we could not have the show we have today. But for now, guys, we're going to be wrapping it up. We will see you all tomorrow with more games.